Let's analyze a scene from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, a 1963 film. This is one of the most suspenseful scenes in the movie, and maybe even in all of Hitchcock's filmography. In order to get a full understanding of the scene, we need to look at what happened earlier in the movie. Because this is a feature-length film, suspense starts building early on, as Hitchcock gives us more and more information. In this first scene, we see our main character in a boat. When the bird attacks, it comes as a surprise. This creates shock, not suspense, because we didn't have enough information. Throughout the movie, Hitchcock raises the stakes by showing that the birds are a real threat, as we see in this party scene. It's terrifying. The main scene we're going to look at happens once we understand that the birds are a real threat, as seen in the party scene. At this point, we feel sympathy for the main character. The first shot is wide enough to give us a sense of space. Her body language shows that the character is on edge. And after only 10 seconds, we are given more information. There is clear conflict. The bird arrives. And, as an audience, we know what's happening. But Melanie, our main character, ignores what's behind her. Once the conflict is introduced, everything else is all about building tension. The shots go from Melanie to the playground, and every time we cut to the playground, there are more birds, and she ignores it. She doesn't know what's going on. As the anticipation builds, so has the uncertainty. At this point, we have seen birds attacking people before, so we know something's going to happen, but we are not sure when. The back and forth from shot to shot is almost the same length until this shot. When the croaking of the bird makes Melanie turn her head. When this happens, even the music changes its pace. And talking about music, it makes the scene more tense because it plays with the idea of birds gathering at a children's playground. And it is creepy and repetitive. This last shot is very important because it's the longest. It's about 28 seconds long, and it creates more uncertainty because we, the audience, are now unaware of what's going on behind Melanie. We've been looking at her for too long and we don't know how many birds are gathered behind her. When she's finally aware of the danger, we follow the bird to the reveal.
But the scene is not over. Now that the character is given the information and knows what's happening, a new tension arises. As she stands up slowly and starts walking towards the building, we get another moment of tension and get a shot of her walking slowly and making sure the birds aren't following her. This back and forth adds to the tension because we don't know if the birds are going to react to her and attack her until she finally gets to safety.
Let's take a look at a different scene. This is from a movie called Touch of Evil. You will notice that the scene takes place in one single take. There is no cutting, no editing. Everything happens in real time. This is the opening of the movie.
citizens?
I am, yes.
Where were you born, miss?
Mrs.
What?
Philadelphia.
The name is Vargas. Hey, Jim. You see who's here? Sure, Mr. Vargas. Out on the trail of another dope ring?
Out on the trail of a chocolate soda for my wife.
Your wife?
Really a bride, officer.
Hey, can I get through? A lot of talk up here about how you cracked that Grandy business.
Yeah,
we hear you caught the big boss.
Only one of them. The Grandys are a big family. Good night.
No purchases, Mr. Lineker.
Hey, I got this.
You're an American citizen, miss?
I got this ticking noise.
Yeah, okay.
No, really, this
Good night.
ticking noise in my head. Mike, do you realize this is the very first time we've been together in my country?
Do you realize I haven't kissed you in over an hour? ¿Qué pasó?
No sé, un carro explotó.
Mike, what happened?
That car that just passed us exploded.
The car? How could it do that?
I don't know. I'll have to try to find out. You'd better not come any closer. We'll have to postpone that soda, I'm afraid.
In Touch of Evil, the filmmaker creates a moment of sympathy by showing the characters and introducing the conflict. There is a bomb in the car. We know this information, but the characters ignore it. This creates tension. As the scene goes on, there is a sense of anticipation. The car keeps appearing on screen, reminding us that there is a ticking bomb, but we don't know when is it going to go off. This creates uncertainty. What makes a suspenseful scene can be divided in three moments: information, tension,
I got this ticking noise.
Yeah, okay.
and release. To edit your footage, you can use a software like Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe Spark, or Adobe Rush. All of your editing software has a similar look. You will see a timeline, a preview, and a preview of your main timeline. On this side, you're going to have your bins, which is where the footage is going to be located. When you want to export footage, you can right click, import, and select the source of your footage. In this case, my footage is located on an SD card. Once you find your footage, you're going to copy it and import it. It might take a couple seconds. Once your footage is imported, you're going to find it on this side of your window. This is where all my footage is located. To edit the footage, you're going to move the clips from your preview to the timeline. If you get a window like this, all you have to do is change sequence settings. This will adapt your timeline to the settings of your clip. And it's going to look like this. Now, the way you're going to edit your footage is by dragging your clips to the timeline. You can cut the clips to find the moment that you need by dragging or by using your razor tool and cutting specific areas of your clip. Like this. For this shot, I want to cut between me typing and the close-up of the keyboard. You can also mark in and out points from your preview window. You do that by marking in and marking out. You can grab this screen and drag it to your timeline. Now, it's important that you notice that this clip won't appear on my actual edit because it's under the clips I'm editing. So, you want your clip to be on top because that's what it's going to be showing. So we go from me typing to the close-up. Now, to make it match, we need to find the right moment. If I'm typing on the wide, then we want the close-up of the typing too. And we want the other side to match as well. So we have to go back to me typing. Once you're done with your edit, you want to start working on the sound effects. If you didn't record any sound, you can go to the YouTube audio library and find some free music. You can find music based on genre, let's say cinematic, mood. Let's do a dramatic mood. And you can even find instruments and stuff like that. So once you find something you like, you can click here and download it. You can do the same with sound effects. So let's download a song. There you go. We get a lot of different ones. This is nice. We're gonna download that, and then let's get some sound effects. We need a keyboard. Um, it's good. Keyboard typing fast. Download it. You get the idea. You just go through the effects and find some music you like, some effects you like. Once you do that, you can go back to your project, right click somewhere in here, and do import, and then you can import it based on wherever you save it. So I have Hitchcockian, and then you do import. It's gonna bring my music here, my sound effects too. And once you have that, you're gonna drag your music to your project. You can preview the music if you double click, take it to a preview, listen to it. Maybe you want to mark a specific part of the song you like and bring it to your project. For example, I don't want music here. I like the idea of keeping it silent. And maybe start the music once we see him in the back. Something like that. You can lower the volume using this bar right here. Let's also bring some of our sound effects. You can add as many sounds as you want I want to keep this simple, but you can do as much as you want. I want to start with a keyboard sound, so I'm gonna bring my keyboard sounds to my project. I save them in a specific folder here, so I'm gonna bring this to. I'm gonna import them, and they appear right here. Keyboard typing fast. So I'm gonna bring this here. Oof, it's too big. So just because it's a lot, I'm just gonna mark it out so it's smaller and bring it here. There we go. The volume up a little bit. And then I want this to go low right here. I'm gonna add a little fade. You can add fades by clicking Shift D. If you do Shift and D, you can add a little fade. Did you find a place that you like? I might change this, but yeah, take your time, figure out the best place to put it. You don't have to add music if you want. It all depends on what's gonna be best for your scene. Some scenes work better without music. Maybe I keep this one quiet and add a drum or something every time someone walks in the back. Whatever you decide to do, you add the sound here, and just like you did with the video, you can layer it, so you can put sound right on top of other things, and they'll play at the same time. Just make sure you level the sound so you can hear all the stuff, and you can lower the volume here up and down. You don't want to make it too low. Most of your sound should be around -12 right here. If it passes this, that means it's too high. You're not gonna be able to hear it. Once you finish your sound and your edit is looking good, you're happy with it, you're gonna finish your project by going to File, Export, and Export Media. Now, depending on the software you're using, this might look a little bit different. You should do H.264, which is a format. This one you can just keep it as it is and click export. You can also change it for something like YouTube, for example. You have these presets that are specific to different streaming services or wherever you're gonna play it. For this purpose, you can just keep it as it is or do a YouTube. You want a full HD, then you click full HD, 1080 right here, or just match source. Once that's done, you can click on export and your project's going to be saved. Make sure you output it, meaning this is where your project's going to be saved. So make sure it's somewhere where you're going to find it. I'm going to put it on my rewired suspense folder right here. So I just click save and then just click export once it's ready and your video is going to be saved. If you're using a software like DaVinci Resolve that you can get for free on the Blackmagic website, you are going to start a new project. We have it right here. Just hit OK. And you're going to see a window like this. To import your media, you want to go to this tab right here, Media. And select whatever location, whatever folder you have your media on. So for me, it's on Untitled, Private, and then once you find all your clips, they're going to appear right here. You are going to select all your footage and drag it to the media pool right here. If you get something like this, you're just gonna click change. Once you have all your files right here, you can select all your clips and just go to the edit section. So for media, you have all your clips here, then you gotta edit. This is very similar to Adobe and other editing software. You grab your media from this tab right here and drag it to your timeline. You can preview the files here, and this is your final product. So let's say I'm doing this one right here, and I want to cut. You can use this tool right here and cut it. Make sure you always go back to the selection tool. If you want to delete a clip, all you have to do is select it and hit delete on your keyboard. You can drag clips to the beginning or the end of your timeline, or click on the space and then delete. Let's say we want to add this right here, and then we want to add a close-up of the keyboard. All I have to do is drag it to my timeline. You can cut or use the selector to drag it to wherever you want it and start building your timeline that way. If you want to see more of what's behind, all you have to do is move this way. If you want to add music, the same rule applies. You go to media, find your music, Suspense. We're gonna add this one right here. I'm gonna put it on the timeline, and then go back to edit, and then we have our music here, and all we have to do is drag it to our timeline right here, and drop it, and that's gonna add whatever music you wanna have. Once your project is done, you do a very similar thing. That once your project is done, you go to the Deliver tab, review your timeline, select a location for it. I'm gonna save it right here on Rewired Suspense. For the format, we keep it on QuickTime. The codec, we'll do H.264, and we'll keep everything else just the way it is, and then just click Add to Render Queue, and you're gonna see how the render queue right here is gonna have a new project. You select it and start render, and that's gonna save your project.
Here's the final product. For these, I only use 4 different shots, and then edit all of them together. Because I was alone, I did a little trick to clone myself. If you want to learn that trick, make sure to check out next week's Rewired class on how to clone yourself. The footage looks different because I colored it. You can also learn how to do that in future Rewired classes.